You're listening to Braless Watch, where a mother and daughter team offer their own opinions on watching TV through a feminist lens.
I'm Beth, the mom.
And I'm Lily, the daughter.
Welcome to Braless Watch, where TV watching gets a whole new perspective. Clothing is optional.
Hello.
Hello. I can see you're excited.
I am very, 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 very excited to talk to you about this show.
Okay. I don't know if excited is the right word. I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
So, I'm interested in your perspective of this show. That's why I want to talk to you specifically, and we just happen to be recording it.
Right. Okay. I can give you a perspective. I'm not sure anybody else is going to like it, but I'm not here to make friends. So, unfortunately.
Okay. We are covering Interview with the Vampire, Season 1.
Which series.
Is also, part 1. We're not covering the movie. Fuck that.
And we're not covering the books other than what you have for information
I do
about
have
the book.
Information about the book and a book comparison. I'm going to save that for the very end because I don't want to influence what you're thinking.
Probably a good thing.
Right. So the first season is half of the book by Anne Rice called The Vampire Chronicles that came out in 1976.
Okay.
The series was developed by Roland Jones for AMC, and Interview with the Vampire is part of the immortal universe, quote unquote, that also involves Mayfair Witches and Talamesca, but you don't have to watch those others to watch this. They're slightly intertwined, but they're not majorly intertwined.
And I'll interject here and tell you I've not seen any of the Interview with the Vampire anythings. So
before this,
yeah, this is my first time. I haven't also not read any of the books, so I'm very, very much a virgin to Anne Rice and her musings on vampires.
So I have not read the books myself either. I hadn't even watched the movie, but I have seen now season 1 3 times.
Dang.
I watched it first when it first hit Netflix, and then I watched it season 1 again when season 2 hit Netflix, and then now I've watched it the third time for the podcast.
Okay.
And
that's information I did not know.
And I have to say, as somebody who has watched season 2 and now gone back to watch season 1, season 2 does provide some interesting context.
Interesting. Okay.
So season 1, aka part 1, because it's half of the first book, premiered October 2nd, 2022. The second season, which is part 2, came out May 12th, 2024. And then the third season has been filmed and it's almost ready to go. It's going to be released in June of 2026.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And the third season.
On the cusp of that.
Yeah. The third season follows the next book.
Okay.
I know.
I don't know.
You haven't read the books and it doesn't matter to you, but for some fans out there, that might be important.
It might matter to them. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm more interested in how the book was written because I am a bibliophile. I love books and
so that's why I want to talk about the show first, and then we'll do the comparison to the book later. Yeah. That's what I'm going to fill my trivia section with. So I didn't go through like what I normally do with whatever they say.
I did a little bit only on the ones I didn't know.
They did a pretty good job,
but there was
of explaining
not really
things.
Reason. Yeah,
but they also did. If you know American history, you've got it. Even just basic American history, you've got it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, true, very true. Do you want to do you want to explain where we're set in season 1, or I mean?
So you're in two different places because it's an interview. So season 1 is in the 2020s in Dubai. That's where the interview is happening. But it's set, what the interview is about, is set in 1910 through the early 1940s.
Right. In New Orleans.
In New Orleans, yes.
Yeah. And then there are some scenes that are in San Francisco.
Yes, and those are sprinkled in from the 1970s because that was a failed interview.
Right.
For the first time.
Right. Everybody with us now? As we pretzel our way through this?
It's a twisty series. It is a twisty series.
Okay, so do you want me to do my trigger warnings?
Yes, because I know there's a lot, because this is a Gothic horror show. That's what it is.
There's a lot, but I tried to condense them as best I can. I may have missed some, so apologies if I did. I tried to pick the ones that were the most alarming, I guess would be the right word for that.
Okay.
So, and they're all kind of in order of the scenes as they came on.
Okay.
Aging issues, racial constructs, racism, body excrement mentions.
Okay.
Blood.
Obviously.
Violence.
Yes.
Disability. Visibility. Disability, visibility is what I wrote. Sex work, religious constructs, heteronormative constructs, mental health, smoking, grooming behaviors, lying and deception, LGBTQIA plus constructs, sexual content, suicide imagery, familial strain, graphic imagery and violence, warning for sounds. Just FYI, there's a lot of sounds that I
especially animals.
Personally did not need to hear. Yes. Animal cruelty, intimate partner violence, impalement, and child abuse depictions.
You know, it's not as long as I thought it was going to be.
They're all very serious, though.
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah. This is a very serious show.
Yeah.
Even though I have to say, there are some funny moments.
Funny is not something that came up for me in this show. So that's okay. Interesting that you have that lens. It's amazing to me the experiences in being older and all those things, right? Cloud my vision or change how I see?
I am very jaded to most things in this show, and I see it for what it is or what they're trying to depict, rather than adding extra inference.
Okay. Not sure what you mean by that, but okay.
Okay.
So I think we talked just before we got on about going by character. So do you want me to give the actors' names and then we can go by character?
Give all the cast and then we'll do that because all the cast they're intertwined. They
are intertwined. I'm going to do them out of order and give the young woman her due. So yes. Claudia is played by Bailey Bass.
Yes.
Louis de Dulac, and I'm sorry if I chewed that up, is played by Jacob Anderson. Daniel Malloy is played by Eric Bogosian. And Lestat de Liancourt is played by Sam Reed.
I think it's de Liancourt, but yes, because it's French.
Oh, man. The people who know me, because I went through 4 years of high school French, and boy, did it not stick. What's funny is I can read languages. I can't say them.
The tongue gets in the way.
My brain just does not function that way. My neurodivergence, I guess, gets in the way or something. But I can read it just fine. Cannot speak it for the life of me. And it doesn't really matter which language it is. I still get it bunged up in my tongue.
Right.
So, on that note, how do you want to do this?
That's a great question. So this whole story follows from Louis' perspective, mostly. We do get Claudia's perspective solely from her journals, but the interview is Louis talking to Daniel.
Right.
So that's the story we see, is everything from Louis' perspective except for whatever comes from Claudia's journals.
Right. And Louis is very protective of that.
He's yes, and he's
protective of her story. Yeah.
And yes, and he has removed pieces of the journals to try to protect her even more.
I have thoughts on the connection there as far as like fatherly, sisterly kind of.
Okay. So I guess should we just start with, our narrator, Louis?
Sure.
Since
he's my favorite character if I could have one in this series.
Okay.
So, which is interesting to me, but he is my favorite. I think it has to do with the duality. I think that every time there's a duality, I always gravitate to those that struggle with that.
He's a very layered character.
Yes.
In this show. There's a lot of pieces to him. Yeah. So we start off with Louis meeting Lestat. Well, actually, before that, when Louis was turned, right before he was turned, he was running the family money by running basically brothels, right?
Yeah, they were in
whorehouses.
They were in sugar cane.
That was
stuff
before that.
Before that, and the father died, and it left the family without. Basically,
they were 4 months from bankruptcy when the father died.
Louis had to do something to bring money in, and he knew that the what am I want to say here? Vices of humans.
Right. One of the easiest businesses to set up.
Right. And he knew he could get
the quickest.
The powerful to be a part of that as well. That's where the money was actually coming from. Let's give into their vices so they come and give me their money and give that money up for me.
And give his name to it. And then he worked his way up a little bit that way too.
A little bit, yeah. His race still came into play as it was depicted, of course. Yeah. It was false power, basically.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because it was 1910 New Orleans.
Right.
Yeah. So that's Louis before. He's trying to take care of the family. His sister Grace is getting married. His mother is helping with that marriage or that wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul, his brother, has. They don't say what he has.
Best guess for my part is schizophrenia.
Yeah. He says he has birds in his brain that speak God to him.
And he's known for talking to things that aren't there and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The best I guess I can give is he's on the younger side, and schizophrenia does come in the younger parts, around age of adulthood and that kind of thing. So he fits the bill for that as far as the depiction.
Right.
But
they don't ever say
anything. They don't ever say. And he doesn't stick around long enough, unfortunately.
No, Paul's death is the catalyst for everything that happens next.
Yeah.
It is.
I think Louis had a romantic idea that he could save his brother or protect his brother from himself. And he even told Grace in such a way that, like, you go on and do your life. This is what you're meant to do because you're the woman of, you have
you
to
go have babies and have the family
have
and
the
stuff.
Heteronormative thing. I will handle this.
Right. I will handle the family.
And
I got it.
Yeah. And the mom really trusted him with that, which is why she ended up blaming him for Paul not being around with us anymore.
Yep, she completely blamed Louis for Paul's death.
And to have not only Paul's death, but then mom pulling away, and now the sisters also getting married, all of that loss stacked itself.
It did.
For Louis. And emotionally, he couldn't handle the load.
Nope. And so he made a somewhat impulsive decision to become a vampire.
I mean, Lestat had already put his grooming hooks in prior to that.
Okay.
Because the family had already been talking, why are you hanging out with this white man? What can he do for you? What can he do for us? Why is he hanging around so much? What kind of relationship is it? Like a bunch of questions, right? And Louis, of course, never said anything because that's not something that you talk about with your family.
Right. Especially because Louis, so at this point, he's still denying himself his homosexual tendencies.
Right.
His homosexuality part.
Right.
Because it's 1910 New Orleans. Of course he is.
Right. But Lestat had already got into his life. So Lestat had already positioned himself to be the one to capture Louis at his lowest. He was just waiting for that. And knew the time to strike for his eternal bond, I guess would be the right way to put that for vampires.
For his eternal companion. That's what he was looking for.
Yeah, his eternal companion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say that's definitely how it's depicted in this first season. The story after that is mostly Louis trying to deal after that for at least 2 episodes, dealing with this split of trying to stay in human affairs but also be a vampire.
Right?
And he's dealing with this split.
Yeah, it's the duality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that duality never really goes away throughout the whole season.
No.
He continues to have that, even into his time in the Dubai. Yeah.
Right. It pivots. So he pivots what he focuses on. So when it first started, like when he first was changed, it was he's going to, create the other brothel, the Azalea, spread his business, all that kind of stuff. He focused on his business. And then other stuff happened. Claudia. Then he focused on Claudia. And then he just keeps pivoting to different projects. Quote unquote projects.
I have so much comment about that.
Yes. You should. Say it.
I mean, it's born out of the hatred, the self-hatred that you possibly might experience as being someone who's homosexual or not of the social norm, right? Anything that you're outside the social norm, self-hatred can breed there. And if you don't handle it or take care of it, you can grow it into something else. And that's what it was born from that. So everything he did was from his low self-worth.
And Louis has that for most of the time. And most of the time.
For the whole series, he's like that.
He's still dealing with it in the whole first season. He deals with it past that. It's not just who he is. He's also still dealing with being a vampire.
Right.
He hasn't fully accepted that.
Right. Did you catch on as to what was the emotional avoidance there was, or the resistance?
I don't know what you mean by that, so no.
His empathy. He has empathy. He's a vampire with empathy.
Yes.
And that is his struggle. That is his suffering.
Well, that's part of it. I think the other part of it is that he doesn't like himself, and so there's another part of him, which is the vampire part. And so
none of this was resolved by being a vampire.
No.
And Lestat had promised him, I will take your pain away. It did not work.
What Lestat actually ended up giving him as an actual gift was time to deal with all of this. Like literal time. Because he didn't age, there's no changing, right? So literal time, that was the gift.
Well, not just that. I mean, it was also this companionship of, homosexuality, where he had this partner and he didn't have to go out and search for that or be vulnerable to the social shadows, as it were, during that time. So there were several things that Lestat did for him. I'm not sure that.
I mean, as a vampire, giving that gift, the vampire, the darkness gift, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the vampirism. Time was the best gift of all of that.
I kind of giggle here because my brain goes into sort of the idea of what other lenses can I see this from?
Okay.
And unfortunately, that's just part of me. So my brain went there because I was conceptualizing in different ways. One of the ways I conceptualize this is vampirism as a chronic illness.
Okay.
And how you can go through the emotional, range of grief and anger and, the exhaustion of suffering with it and having to manage it. And, the every night you have to go and feed and all these things. And to me, the chronic illness is very much the same in that you're always going for appointments or medicine or something to handle your chronic illness.
I would say Louis definitely sees it that way, partially. I think the other part of it is, which is subconscious, is the self-harm part of it.
Yes.
Which is, I think, another reason why it's not just the empathy for humans he goes for animals, is because the animals cause more self-harm because it's not the best blood, quote unquote.
Right, it's not the quality blood. Yeah, he eats the trash pandas, as it were. Yeah.
Trash pandas.
know how to put that, but
I don't think we see him eat a raccoon, but
the
maybe
scavenger animals, because
yeah. Trash pandas. Wasn't expecting that. Sorry.
It's my brain coming up with words. So yeah, I think that he is definitely someone who could, do some self-work, right? To discover himself, to accept those things about himself. Unfortunately, he didn't get the time to do that before he turned into a vampire. And then you get the added mental stuff.
He wouldn't have done it before he was a vampire. That's the thing.
Well, and I don't know if he wouldn't have done it. I don't know that there was access to resources available to him, right? So yeah, I think he was at a point of my choices are limited, and my pain, my emotional pain is so great that this seems like a good idea. So it was impulsive, of course, to have him turn him into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
He also didn't see the trap, so there's that.
Okay, I'm gonna let that one go.
I have so much to say about that.
Okay, you can continue talking.
Oh no, we're not there yet. We'll get to Lestat because
okay, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about Lestat. So is there much more we want to say about Louis? Because there's a lot of pieces to Louis. He eventually removes himself as part of the family, basically, because he's a vampire, number one, so he can't see them in the day. And they have basically rejected him, especially the mother,
right,
Florence.
Well,
Grace hasn't
removed him or whatever. I don't know that's actually
he removed himself.
He did, from socializing with them,
right?
Not from being a part of the family. He just couldn't socialize with them in a way that was in keeping with the way that they were wanting to socialize and keep their place, as it were, right?
Yes.
And, we hear this from Claudia, massa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it would damage or harm both the mother's station, even though it's not as high as she might think it is. And then the sister, right, marrying into with the guy who the
Levy.
business is at Levy, and all of that in her station, as it were. So
I mean, they didn't really have station except for what Louis gave them, because Louis gave them all the money because it was the family money.
Well, and they didn't need Louis anymore because Levi came in and usurped all that. And then,
because of what Florence did, Florence put him in that position and knocked Louis down, not the other way around.
Again, so that means it's another loss, right? This is a loss he's having to deal with. So, yeah, it's just layered grief there with no explanation, really. And it bears the truth of their actual family connection, which really wasn't there, of course, question mark. We don't get the history of his childhood. We don't get the history of the relationships. It does sound like the dad was really good about not only squandering money, but then also keeping up appearances that they had money.
Yeah.
So
Don't know.
And then Louis had to pick up the pieces. Paul was not going to be able to do anything because he was mentally unstable. And then it wasn't in Grace's place to take up any kind of mantle. And she obviously didn't have the skill set either. Mom taught her to be the bearer of children and to be the good wife.
Right.
Which was what the standard for that time
and
period.
what she did.
And she did that. So, and even Louis pushed her into that too. It was like, go and do what you need to do to take care of you as a person. So yeah, the family was destined to be split because they just never really had that connection. I think that Louis,
they were just in their place.
Yeah, and Louis, he craved it. He yearned for it, right? And I think Lestat picked up on that, unfortunately.
Well, and that's where we get Claudia.
Yeah.
Right. So Claudia was brought in because of a kill that Louis did. It caused a whole riot in the town, which caused one of the houses to burn. And that's where Claudia was.
Right.
Louis went in and saved her and pushed Lestat to make her a vampire. I will say that's another self-harm movement for Louis, because what is one way you deal or you get rid of vampires completely? Fire. and he walked into a burning building.
Of course, we didn't know this as an audience.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I did because I've watched it. This is the third time, but
I will say the whole time I'm like, can you kill a vampire? Is there rules about that too? Because I wrote down everything that Lestat has powers to do. Because I was like, oh, okay, a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Louis, went into the burning building because he heard the child and, faced self-harm to then also assuage his empathy and try to repair what he had put in motion.
Okay.
Possibly, right? We don't know really the motivations there.
No, because after that, Louis focused solely on Claudia, mostly.
I think, I think Louis has a distorted idea about love, and it comes from his family. I really think that.
Well, and he has a distorted view of family, so he wanted a family, and Claudia created that family.
Yeah, yeah. He saw a treasure and took her.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I'm watching Claudia as this character, the little tab in my head is she's a prop. She's a prop. She's a prop. She's a prop.
Mm-hmm.
And she eventually realizes she's a prop and takes her own mind. And
we'll get to Claudia in a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's other parts to Louis because Claudia leaves for a while. We'll get to all of that. But Claudia leaves for a while, and Louis just wallows for 7 years. That's basically what he does. He doesn't leave. He barely eats.
And he doesn't have any skills for loss. Yeah.
Longing for Claudia.
So I did write in my notes, vampires are divas. And I mean that in the most endearing way, in that they are highly emotional but can't handle the emotional load because they have no skills to do so.
Yeah, so they
just fly off the handle and impulsively do shit, right? And at each other, at other humans. It doesn't matter. They're just, I feel an emotion, so they're like a fucking toddler and just want to explode with this whatever emotion it is.
Daniel has a quote about that. He says, "I also think she," meaning Claudia, "makes you and Frenchie look like a couple of whiny existential queens."
Yep. And I was nodding at the TV when I was like, yes, that right there. Mm-hmm. Gotta call him like I see him, man.
Eventually, Claudia comes back. There is the fight that leads to what has been called in the fandom as the drop. And then Claudia nurses Louis back to health. Louis takes Lestat back. Claudia decides to kill Lestat with Louis's help.
Boy, that's a short, condensed version. Sure.
I mean, that's the last 2 episodes right there.
Yeah. I will say this does follow a cycle of intimate partner violence. So, like a billboard, just neon sign going.
Yep. I warned you, there was domestic violence stuff in this.
There's violence. Just blood everywhere and violence.
It's a horror show. I don't know how to describe this much more. It's a horror show about vampires. Of course there's going to be blood.
The only thing that kept holding me onto this show was the plot, really.
Right.
Well, and other things, but damn it, they drugged me into it. And I was well, I got to see how it ends now.
I know.
I think I can end at the season 1, possibly. I'll have to give it a few days, see if I process it and see if I miss it at all.
I would like to encourage you to watch season 2. I would like to encourage all of the audience to watch season 2. If you're going to watch if you get through season 1 and you're like, I could probably not watch it. No, I would suggest to watch season 2. Season 2 is less about Louis and Lestat. It's because this whole first season is about Dubai or they're in the interviews in Dubai talking about New Orleans. That's the whole season. The next season 2 is not like that. They're in Dubai, but they talk about multiple different places that they go.
Okay.
I bring this up because the intro, I don't know if you noticed, the bottom is Dubai and the top is New Orleans. And it looks
I
like
knew
the
it was a
Empire
flip
things.
city. Yeah, I got that too. Yeah.
It's more obvious when you go to the next season because depending on the story depends on what the intro is.
Oh, okay. That doesn't surprise me.
No.
The graphic design or just design overall of this show.
Oh yeah.
Top notch. Like, I cannot have enough good words or positive words to say about the design of this.
The sets, the costuming,
the lighting, the music.
lighting. Yeah.
I mean, the choreography. I mean, gosh, yeah. I mean, it's top notch all the way across. Like, so anyone that was part of the design, I am giving you kudos upon kudos, piles of kudos from an artistic point of view.
The cinematography is also really, really good.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Camera angles. Yeah, all of it.
First episode, the slow-mo shot of Lestat walking while the other guy, the priest, is running. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
As a camera shot. That is just beautiful.
I was going to say the only time I said ew, because I'm pretty okay with blood being spurted and whatnot.
Yeah, at which points?
Because I know they're fake, because I just tell myself that's fake.
Right.
So I can appease myself for not having an emotional reaction. But the 2 times I said ew was when Lestat punched the priest in the face.
Through the bars? Yeah, through his head.
That was gross. That was gross. I went, ugh. And then the other ew was when at the very end where Claudia pulled the eyeball out, because I knew that was her trophy. That didn't cause me to say ew. It was the blood spurt across the camera, and I was like, oh, ew, didn't need that.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought it would be Louis pulling out the jaw of the other guy.
No, that didn't. No, that was okay.
I thought that would get you.
I was like, that was interesting. Like, as far as cinematography and stuff.
Right.
I've watched enough zombie, I guess, shows, so I don't, or movies or whatever. And yeah, I've been just desensitized to that part. But just the spurt across the camera, I was like, oh, we didn't need that. Gross.
We'll probably end up talking more about Louis, but is there anything more important you want to talk about his story?
No, I think the reason I'm attracted to that character, which was perfectly acted.
Jacob Anderson does a great job.
Just gonna say.
The acting of all of them, very good.
Oh, very good. The whole casting, superb. And I realized how good Jacob Anderson is when they're in the plotting part of killing Lestat, right? And Louis still has Claudia on one side. They're on a bench in the park. Lestat's on the other side. And Louis should be ecstatic. He should be happy. He's got both in his range.
They're enduring for him.
Right. And his body language is what you and I call melting, right?
Yep.
Where he's slid down he's not sitting up back straight or anything like that. He is from all intensive ways of saying this, a broken man of some kind, right? If you were just looking at him visually, his body is slumped.
Yep.
And exhausted. And the actor to portray that as he's fighting between the two, right? He's just done. He's really done with the two of them arguing over him, basically.
Right.
And is on board with this whole idea of killing Lestat.
Killing Lestat, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's no choices, right? He can't see any choices before himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yep.
He has no confidant either. He can't go to anyone. Lestat is his confidant. Or so we're supposed to know. Claudia is also his confidant. Can't tell her everything either. There's no one to talk to. That's why therapy is important, people. There's no one to talk to. So he endures that inside him. And you can tell his body is just like emotionally done, right? He's just done. And the actor portraying that, I was like, dude, you are on point. Like, yeah, I get it. I can feel it. I can feel it from you.
Right.
So
they kudos to the acting is really good. The scripts are really good.
Yeah. Oh, the scripts is all of it's just super.
All of it is so good. Watch it just for that, even if you're not a horror fan or even an LGBTQ romance fan. I'm not normally a romance person, but have watched this 3 times. So You always notice something different every time you watch.
I just want to put the warning out there for people who have experienced intimate partner violence that this might be triggering to you. So
yes.
although everything is beautiful and superb and all that stuff, I found it very, very difficult to watch this show. It took me many days to try to get it consumed because it kept triggering shit. So I was like,
yeah,
right, let's just take it
I know.
moment by moment. I stopped in the middle of an episode. I stopped, because I just couldn't.
A few minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I just had to take it in bites. I couldn't consume it any faster. So
yeah, I warned you. That's why I wanted to take it as slow as possible. All of that. Yep.
It sucks too because I really want to enjoy the design of other artists.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you're in, casting or screenwriting or set design or music or whatever. If you're contributing, I want to be able to consume that art. But because of my experiences in my life, I get limited on doing that. Right. And it really sucks. Just sucks butt, man.
Okay, let's move on character-wise. Lestat or Claudia? I think we should save Daniel for last.
Let's do Lestat first.
All right, Lestat.
We'll keep it in timeline.
So Lestat moved to New Orleans.
We don't know why he's in America.
No, he moved to America, but he stayed in New Orleans on a whim.
We also didn't know how old he actually was either, how long he's been a vampire, any of that stuff.
You do by the end.
We do by the end, yes.
You have I have the ages for everybody of when they were turned and how old they actually are by the end. So I do have that.
I find Lestat to be a petulant child.
Okay.
But he's born out of experience from like what he said. He doesn't want to be abandoned. He doesn't.
He does have big abandonment
issues. His emotional load. He just can't.
Right. He says he has his father's temper. He has abandonment issues. These are things he is well aware of.
He's not a well man as far as mental stability.
Are any of them?
No.
Okay, then I think Daniel is the closest.
I actually think Claudia might have a good handle on things. I mean, she sees the world pretty clearly from the way she was describing things, and now that she's got some other issues, so we can talk about that when we get to Claudia.
We'll get to Claudia, but
Lestat has been around long enough and been around humans long enough. He's learned how to manipulate them. He's learned how to...
For Lestat...
place, them on a chessboard and make things work in his favor. He also has the power to do this with human minds. So
he can't do that very often. That's the thing. That does take a lot of power and lot of strain on him. Have to put that into context. He can't just easily do it all the time.
Nearly pass out from doing something for Louis. I can't remember the whole scene, but
he got he brought home a platoon.
Oh, that's right. And he had to get them all out.
And he had to kick them all out. Yeah.
Lestat to me is someone who knows better or should know better, but has not taken the reins to do so because he likes being the petulant child. He likes being the center of attention. He likes he's rewarded by that.
Well, I think part of it is you're kind of putting him into human context. He is a vampire. That's the thing. All of them are vampires.
He's a vampire that has lived long enough around humans and
the thing about Lestat,
his power and controls the environment to his favor.
The thing about Lestat, he sees humans as food or entertainment. Those are the only pieces to him.
Right.
He calls them the meat. That is what they are to him.
But he didn't see Louis this way? Question mark.
No, because he saw him as a potential vampire. That's the difference.
I think he saw him as a potential
partner as well.
Toy is what I get from my...
Okay.
A plaything. Something I can play with longer. Like he did with Antoinette. Same thing.
Antoinette was a complete plaything. I will agree to that one. Antoinette... So Louis gets... Louis and Lestat sort of open up their relationship. And
they never had a closed one. Are you kidding me?
Not really. But Lestat is sort of with Antoinette. But she is solely just a plaything. She She is there because she laughs at his jokes and says, I love you.
Right. He said that near the end there, that I bring my complaints to you, not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not here to listen to your complaints.
Yeah, I don't care about you. That's basically what he said right there.
I mean, it kind of speaks to the relationship with Louis. Now, I'm not saying Lestat didn't love Louis, because in his mind, he did. I'm not denying that. He did feel love, whatever that looks like for him, because every human feels that differently, right? And we're conditioned to know that by our caregivers as we're growing up, if we have any. And some of us don't have the brain. Some of us are missing some of that for love, is or misconstrued ideas of love or whatever, right? And Lestat's offering of whatever his love looks like is poison. It's just poison. To me, it's poison.
Okay.
And I don't think Louis was educated enough when he agreed to be a vampire that
I don't think Louis was educated enough, but at the same time, I don't think Louis cared.
Again, self-harm.
Yeah.
Has to do with self-harm. And that low self-worth, and I'm not worthy of whatever, blah, blah. And that is a reoccurring theme the whole time. Louis struggles with that. And Lestat doesn't like him being the sobby guy. He wants him to be his arm candy and be out with him at his whim whenever he's with that. And Lestat will also say, I don't need you tonight. Again, prop, right?
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree with that because I think Lestat wants someone to talk to, wants someone to fight with. And that's where Louis even says at one point that he was baiting Lestat. And he knew that he was like, Louis enjoyed baiting Lestat. And Lestat saw it and agreed to continue being baited into these conversations. I don't see Lestat as wanting him as arm candy because you can't do that back then, right? If Louis was a woman, sure.
I don't know if arm candy, I don't know if that's the right word then.
Yeah, that's not
Again, toy. They're toys to him. The relationship is a plaything that he can come home to and be
from
reliant
this season
on.
I can see that.
And he has one in, Antoinette's further away and is of a different body type and all that stuff. And he has uses for humans. And he puts you in your place before you even know you have a place in his mind. And this is why I say he's grooming. There's no other way to describe that in human terms.
Okay.
I'm not a vampire, so I don't know. I also did write in my notes about the drive or the need for blood and how that could potentially change how you view and navigate this illness, chronic illness in quotes. And, if you went from being a human to being a vampire, it's going to be really difficult to navigate that because you're still human.
Right. And even
obviously, you still have emotions.
Lestat talked about that. Louis and Lestat both went through that. Lestat talked about it later, but we saw Louis go through that of dealing with, I don't really want to do this, but I've got to.
So I think I just had this realization that I think part of my experience with this series, and this is a kind of a warning to everyone else who has experience with intimate partner violence, is that I'm going to cry a little bit.
Okay.
Oof. Is that I think I turned Lestat off and stopped listening to him.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't care about that character. I didn't care what he had to say. I didn't care about his charisma and his drawing in and all this. I stopped caring, especially after he dropped him. I was like, done.
That's very interesting.
I didn't want to hear what he had to say anymore.
So after this is where I'm going to suggest you watch season 2 because it puts things into context. Because I watched this from a perspective of watching it from Lestat. Because I knew the story. So watching it from more Lestat's perspective.
But what you're asking is for me to have empathy for a predator. That's why I'm super hard.
That's why I'm telling you to watch season 2. I don't want to give anything away.
No, don't give anything away. I'm just telling you from my perspective that it's really difficult.
I'm not saying to love him.
No. I'm just saying I have to have some kind of
I like his character, but I don't love him. To be honest, I don't like any of them. I like Claudia and Daniel.
I like Claudia.
I like Claudia and Daniel. I don't really like any of them, but I like them as characters, as pieces of the puzzle.
I think it's too close. Yeah, I think the character was well acted. Yes. Sam Reed did an awesome job.
Fabulous job. And that continues into season 2.
The way he looks straight into the camera and makes those micro movements with his face and everything like that. And I think that's the trigger for me emotionally, right? Is I've seen that face in multiple people, not just one in my life, and been drawn into the web of intimate partner or other types of familial engagement that was not kind to me, right? And I just want to resist that with all my being. And to watch this actor do it is not only phenomenal, which it's hard to be positive about that, but it brings up so much. And so I want to make sure that I, warn people of that, because it's really hard to watch this show.
It is.
Because it is well acted.
Yeah, they did. And it's well written. It's all of that.
Right. Yeah.
You want to take a small break? You want to take okay, small break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, sorry about the interruption. We had to take a small break, process emotions, how it has to be sometimes. I do want to apologize. I don't want to say that Lestat is a good guy or someone you should admire or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, even you don't like him, so
no, I don't. I like the character himself, like as a character.
Right. I mean, would you be friends with him if you met somebody like this in real life?
Probably not.
Yeah. See.
So, no, but that's what I was getting at. I was more watching it from his perspective because we're seeing him through Louis's eyes, if that makes sense.
We are.
So, all right. You mentioned something about wanting to talk about Lestat's multitude of powers.
Yeah, because I listed them because I was like, I couldn't keep up, so I started writing them down.
Right. He has a lot.
He does have a lot.
And there's reasons behind that are part of the lore.
Is it because he's 500 years old?
He's not 500 years old.
Oh, no, that's the other dude. He's like, at this point in New Orleans, he's like 160 or something, right? Nearly that.
About there, yeah.
Okay.
By the end, he's 179.
There we go. Yeah. Old enough to know better and old enough not to know how to do stuff.
Old enough not to care either.
Old enough not to care. True. Very, very true. You kind of lose some of that. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so that's an goal to sort of imagine or to conceptualize this.
Right.
So thank you for that. Okay.
You're welcome.
The powers that I figured out that Lestat has is immortality, time suspension, healing powers, levitation, telepathy, extreme strength. I wrote requires consent in question, like with a question, because I don't know that vampires can just do things. I mean, with general rooms and stuff, with the telepathy, I think they can, but when you're in interpersonal, I think they have to ask consent? ? Like be invited into a home, be invited into a relationship. I don't know. I got the question there.
That's a great question, because in most vampire lore, you do have to be invited into, like let's say a home. You have to be invited in before you can even walk past the threshold. Right. That is interesting. I hadn't thought of that. And now I want to watch it all over again, watching for that specific piece.
Okay.
I'm not going to right now, but
the other two I had were extreme hearing and senses, and telekinesis. Those are the ones that I got. So that's a lot.
You can also, there's one, I don't know if you said, but where you can talk to other vampires. Telepathy?
Yeah.
Telepathically?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was in your list.
It was. Telepathy.
Okay.
Yeah. And he does telepathy not only with other vampires, but he uses that to sort of put it over the humans too, to make them do stuff. The guy in the theater, oh my God. I didn't laugh, but man, it can be funny.
Right. That was funny, I have to say.
You kind of want to do that sometimes to people who are being rude to you. You're like, why are you hitting yourself?
Well, the thing about it is they're the ones being rude in the theater. That's the other funny part of it. Because they're the ones talking about the ball in the theater. Anyway, yeah, and actually there are more powers. You haven't seen them all.
Seriously. Okay.
Correct. So if that intrigues you for season 2.
It does not.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, but it does not.
I will say the others get more powers too. So
yeah, I mean, in the end there, Claudia leaped or whatever. She levitated momentarily when she was attacking.
I think that comes by the strength piece.
Right.
The super strength, because then she just used that to leap really far.
Right. I'm not sure. It was sort of the foreshadowing for a possibility that she could potentially be somebody who could levitate.
Possibly.
Anyway. Again, I was attracted to the plot, and that's where I was with most of this, is the plot itself.
The story, really the actual story was going to go. Story is very interesting. Yeah.
I'm very interested in what you learned from the book, because I haven't done any research on that on purpose.
Well, I have all of that, and I want to save that till the very end. So we're going to continue on, and let's talk about, unless you're, I don't, and
no, I'm done. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Then let's talk about a really fun character, Claudia. So Claudia was turned at 14 after nearly burning in a fire, saved by Louis. Lestat had to be convinced. He saved her
body.
Yes.
And then I can't remember. They both were in part of her turning.
Nope, just Lestat.
Lestat was. That's right.
Louis forced Lestat to turn her, basically, to save her.
He begged him.
Yes.
I don't think forced is the right word there.
Okay. He begged him, and the reason Lestat did it is to keep Louis around, because right before Louis left, Louis was going to leave for good.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with a child.
Right? Weirdly, I kind of want to put this in context of being a toy or a plaything, right? Or something to distract them from actually addressing their issues or their mental health or whatever. And the actual things going on between them.
Daniel even points that out, that she was a band-aid for a shitty marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, she was. And
for a while, it worked.
She was a distraction, a huge distraction.
She was a distraction.
She was feral. She was a feral kid.
She was. She really was.
She had no decorum.
She also was
very little skills.
Fine with killing. She is more on the Lestat side of things with killing humans.
She takes the trophies.
Yes, she likes trophies. That was her big thing. But then, of course, that's what gets her into trouble as well. So she falls for a guy first, and then she gets caught up in the moment and ends up killing him.
Emotionally. Again, emotions, man.
She gets caught up in the moment.
And I don't know if this is part of the vampirism, if it exasperates that, or if it's part of their human side.
If you listen to Louis at the beginning, taking a small drink is very difficult. And she had no control. She hadn't been
so the drive and the need come over.
So she finished him off and then realized what she had done.
Yeah. And face the consequences of losing her one love that she...
Well, and face the consequences of killing, which is what Louis talked about at the beginning. There are consequences to killing, so you need to be careful.
Right.
So this was an actual consequence to her killing. And then, after that, she basically goes on a killing spree that no one knows about, because she goes under the guise of her being depressed and staying in her coffin, when in reality, she's leaving all the time.
Right.
To go kill, and actually to go turn. That's what she's trying to do, is to turn. Just like Lestat turned her, she's trying to learn how to do it. Because that's what she wanted to happen to her love, to Charlie.
Right. She wanted him forever. Yeah.
She did, and it was too late. By the time she got him back to Lestat, it was too late. It was too gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was dead.
Yeah, he went back. Point of no return.
Yes.
As far as death was concerned.
But she spends her time trying to turn. This is after that. She tries to. Does she leave after that?
Yeah, she leaves after, permanently leaves after that.
She does.
For 7 years.
This is when she leaves for a really long time.
she can't handle Lestat being so hard on her and wanting to be control. He wanted to control her, and she was too feral. And I use that in a way that's descriptive, not to be derogatory or anything, but her character was so feral at being a vampire and not submitting to the
The problem
plaything that
is
she was
that
supposed to
she
be.
was also not taking care of protecting their identity
Nope.
and protecting their home, because
Right.
she killed, we find out 56 at least,
Right.
and then buried them, which what they had been doing was burning the bodies, so there was nothing
Right.
to find. She also
Right.
kept trophies. There was a lot of reasons why that she was causing issues for the home.
Right.
And not
And
just for them, but for herself as well. She put herself in harm's way.
Right. And then through, I guess, rumblings or whatever, their home was searched because of the disgruntled relationship with the law and all of that. And
So it was part of the prohibition stuff as well. So that they were using prohibition as a reason, as well as the bodies, to search homes.
Right.
And Claudia let them in, again, not thinking, because she's
very impulsive.
She's a 14-year-old consistently. She has to drain 2 people a night, because of her hunger.
Oh, I didn't put it in that context. That's
she has to do 2 people a night, not 1. Like Lestat and Louis only have to drink 1. She has to drink 2 every night because she's consistently in that teenage hunger stage.
Wow. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is why when we first meet her and they try to tell her how you're going to do this and all this kind of stuff, that's why she takes down the cop and then takes out the guy across the street.
Right. She's just too hungry.
Because she even says, "I'm starving."
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though she just took down a guy.
Right. Yep.
So Claudia leaves. She's gone for 7 years. What she's trying to do is find more vampires, trying to learn more about vampires. She's doing the opposite of what Louis did. Louis leaned into his humanity. Mm-hmm. Claudia is leaning into the vampire piece. She wants to know as much as she can about vampires.
From her perspective, I can see why that would be attractive. Number 1, she's a teenager, impulsive, of course. Mm-hmm. Number 2, she's a teenager and doesn't have an identity. She's always been told all her life she's just a piece of shit down the road, right. Not even worth anything, And she talks about this with massa, and being a property of somebody.
Her childhood beforehand too, because her mom died in childbirth. Her dad gave her to an aunt who beat her, and then she was found in the grooming home. Yeah, after her aunt was burning to death in the hallway.
Right. So there's a lot of loss of identity or no identity at all, and so for her to find that she's a vampire.
Right. It's something to glom onto and
it is something to glom onto and look into and learn about. She's not leaning into the 2 people that know more about it than her, which she's seeing as parental figures. So it makes sense,
right,
from that perspective that she would.
They're her 2 parental figures, and she sees them as both lying to her in 2 different ways. Lestat lies to her to protect, her and himself. Louis mostly lies to her to protect her innocence, to keep her as a child.
Which is a mistake.
Exactly. Because she is continually growing up.
Right. In her mind and experiences.
She's 14 on the outside, but she, by the end, is 33 on the inside.
Yeah. She'll never grow into a woman or experience what womanhood is or any of that stuff. And the social norms do butt up against that with, she'll never be able to bear children. She'll never be able to be a wife. Or none of those things that social norms in that time period really push, right?
Which she talks about when she's trying to leave, or when she does leave.
Yeah.
So she leaves. While she is out, she does meet a vampire named Bruce. Mm-hmm. He is not a good guy.
Nope.
We don't know too much about exactly what happened.
Oh, you can surmise.
You can surmise what happened, right?
I mean, Lestat said it really well in that he said the other vampires that are out there are vicious.
Yes.
So you can sort of put together
if you
what
see
she
him
went
as
through.
kind, if you see Lestat
Yeah.
as kind, yeah, the rest of them are vicious.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think Lestat thinks that of himself. He's like, I'm one of the kinder ones out there.
Exactly.
Everyone else doesn't give two shits about humankind or any of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I at least
So
amuse myself among them.
right. You learn way more about that in season 2, I will say. Claudia eventually does come home.
Mm-hmm.
But first, before she actually comes home, she follows Louis and Lestat to see who they are as beings.
Right.
And that's when she realizes why she was made to
Right.
be Louis' sister.
Yeah.
Because Grace had denied him.
So this comes to identity, right?
Grace also killed Louis legally.
She did. Yeah.
Tombstone and everything.
My guess is because of the estate.
The estate, but also because family. So nobody ever goes looking. If her children decide to do a genealogy something or other and try to look for family,
right,
they're gonna find a tombstone. Not, well, he should be dead, but he's not. I don't know where he died.
Right.
And so they start hunting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and she even says it has to be this way. You know, it has to be this way.
And then they leave New Orleans for good. They go up to Boston.
They do. They had to go where the jobs are.
Yeah.
I think the Depression was coming out. I can't remember.
Yeah, so that was the 20s and going into the Depression. So you had the
she did
20s.
mention that the crash hit them hard.
So Claudia comes home. They have that big fight. She nurses Louis back to health.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she really Louis loses that piece of her innocence, seeing her as innocent, seeing her as a child. And Claudia...
And a child's sister, too.
Right. Now he starts seeing her as a sister rather than a daughter.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
She's not something to be saved. She can save herself.
Yeah. Yeah. And he puts fatherly advice on her like a big brother would, right?
Later.
But
yeah.
When they're doing the mind talking.
Yes.
But she still does whatever she wants. And I love that in her, that she found herself.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. And number two, she empowers herself. She doesn't take empowerment or take power from other people. She builds it in herself to do whatever she wants and what she thinks she can, to make her own happiness and to make her own, she pays her own way. Mm-hmm. So in that, I was really intrigued by that journey that she went on for that, and can relate, from this perspective of a woman, to be able to carve that for yourself when you're living with two men in a time period when you're the lowest of low. Not only is she a woman,
she's a black woman.
She's a black woman living with two men, question mark around that relationship, right? And so
as a 14-year-old, and as they say, as Louis says at the end, the weird brothers and their doll-like sister were coming out, because that's how the world saw them.
Right.
Was weird brothers and a doll-like sister.
Right. Yeah. Because so much time had passed, right, for
them being out in the world. Yeah.
Right.
They had stopped being a part of the community.
Yeah. Right. For the most part. Yeah. Till that big party at the end.
Till the ball. The Mardi Gras ball. Which was all Claudia's idea.
Yeah, but they made it so that Lestat ingested. So Claudia was pulling Lestat moves on him. Mm-hmm. And he got caught up in that net.
Lestat and Claudia are a lot more alike than they ever want to admit.
Well, that makes sense because Louis, for lack of a better way of describing this, he attracts that kind.
Louis is easily manipulated by both of them, yes.
Yeah. And in a way, he kind of consents to it or is lazy to it. I don't know how to say it without being, too terrible there. But if you don't do your own work, then you're going to continue to be entrapped in these things. Mm-hmm. And I say entrapped, not trapped. Just entrapped.
Claudia has the great idea of the ball for killing Lestat. And she actually pulls off killing Lestat.
Yeah, the foreshadowing with the chess game.
I know.
Superb. Absolutely
Perfect.
superb. And his anger that she bested him was hundreds of years old of anger. This one child, right? He still sees her as a child. And because she hasn't been a vampire very long, I'm sure that there's an ageist thing there.
And he's also their maker.
He's their maker. He's their master, right? He's the one that's kind of doing all the rules and the shots. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to this, right? It's very layered. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
This show is very layered. There's a lot of pieces to it.
Yeah, the racial context. Us being two white women, I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but you know, I can
leave
only
that up
imagine
for other people.
Right? I can only imagine people of color taking this in that context and what that might feel like, or, you know, yeah. Oof. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Oof. I'm feeling it from a mental health perspective, but I can only imagine what it would be like from a racial perspective.
Right. But Claudia's plan works. And she knew it would be the petty slight that would get Tom attacked first. And so she poisoned Tom.
Right?
Yep.
And Lestat didn't see it. Tom was like, "We're all drunk here." And I was like, "Are you drunk?"
Right.
I wondered about that.
Yeah. Well, and of course, one of the twins drank too much, so it made it seem like he also he was poisoned as well when he wasn't.
Right.
He drank too much, and so
it was a perfect plan. Claudia did really well. Yeah,
she did, and she didn't tell Louis because Louis would have broken the plan, and he still didn't follow through on the plan. Louis
did
didn't.
Not. And that's what Daniel points that out.
Daniel points that out. This is what. Okay, I love Daniel, and in the second season, Daniel.
Why do you like Daniel?
Daniel is so sarcastic and so done with all of them. Before he gets started, he's done with them. He's done with the story. He's done. He is intrigued by Claudia. I will say that. Because he didn't know about Claudia from
he also has daughters, so I wonder if there's the connection there.
There is that.
He's got that lens. Yeah.
Right. But so we'll just switch to Daniel for a minute. Daniel is super sarcastic. In their original interview, that was back in the 70s, he was a drug addict looking for a fix most of the time and randomly would write okay-ish journalistic stuff. And now he's an old man who has a huge career behind him. He's gotten clean. He's got 2 marriages, 2 kids. He's got a whole life behind him. As he says, I'm an old man with all the triggers that come with it. And I'm ready.
Really good line.
There's a lot of good lines with this.
He's not only is he ready, but he's ready to call you on your shit.
Yes. So he calls.
And there's something to being older, like middle-aged like that. And your frailties are coming out. Your body's not responding to shit anymore.
So he does have Parkinson's. That's another piece.
Right.
And he is interviewing what he calls the most dangerous man in the world, which is Louis. And he's still calling Louis out on his bullshit.
Yep.
And
even the moment when Armand reveals himself, there's this glint of fear, but then there's this snarky, do it, dude. Just fucking do it.
Just fucking do it. What are you going to do?
Right?
I don't care anymore. I've got Parkinson's and I'm going to die anyway. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. And actually, I guess the worst thing they could have done to him is turn him. Because he said that. He turned it down. He's like, I don't want that. To watch my friends die, to watch my kids die. No.
Yeah.
No. You can keep your gift. I don't want that shit.
Yeah. Anyway, Daniel is my favorite character, and he gets even more of my favorite character in season 2 because he's even more snarky, because he's even more done with them.
Okay. I like that he keeps repeating the questions too. He's like, did you kill the baby? Did you kill the baby?
Did you eat the baby?
Did you eat the baby?
Right. Yeah. Right. Was it raining, Louis? Was it raining? Right. So that's the other thing we haven't really mentioned is that Daniel points out Louis is an unreliable narrator.
He is.
He doesn't remember all the pieces. So
he's also very emotional.
Exactly.
So he's telling the story from emotional side. He's not telling the story from an accurate rendition or factual thing. And that's what he mentions that right at the beginning. He's like, I need to verify some of these things. Some of the things you're saying.
I will send this to my researcher if I can't verify it myself.
Right.
And the other thing is that this interview is, to him, more rehearsed. And he can tell that. I don't know if you caught that, because in the first time he interviews from the 70s, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of rage, and it wasn't scripted because there was no plan to go meet up with an interviewer.
Yeah.
Louis reached out to Daniel this time.
And I'm curious if I ever get to watch season 2, which I'm still on the fence about. But I'm curious if Armand is the one is kind of coaching him in this process. Is Armand a new Lestat? That's my question.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not saying anything.
No, please don't. I'm going to keep these questions to myself, and then I can...
You didn't keep it to yourself. You put it on the podcast.
Well, whatever. I'm going to ruminate on them and see if it becomes something that I want to answer. And, that's how I know if I'm going to watch another season of something or another show of something, is if I miss it.
Back to Daniel. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about with Daniel?
No, I can relate to him on more levels because he is human, obviously. But also he's an older human, has had life, and I can feel what he feels as far as the snark and being done and being exhausted with bullshit and, just that edge to him. I mean, yeah, when you've lived a whole life like that, or maybe many lives, as I like to describe it, I've lived more than one life in my 50 years, that, you kind of learn some stuff.
Right. Him being in the story allows us to get to one of my favorite one-time characters, which is the doctor, who consistently says, "I'm not here."
Oh, okay, yeah. I kind of did giggle at that. I did, yeah, sorry. I didn't really laugh a lot in this show, but that was funny. That made me giggle a little bit. I'm not here.
Right.
I'm not here.
And then as the doctor leaves, he says, "Pleasure never meeting you."
Right.
And Daniel goes, "He said to no one."
Yeah, exactly.
No one's having this conversation. Why are we talking?
The creativeness behind the screenplay, and then the actors being able to pull those lines off. I was remiss on quotes in this because the whole screenplay is a quote in itself.
Yeah.
Every line is thoughtfully written and thoughtfully acted. And
I pulled a lot of quotes, and I normally pull a lot of quotes, but I pulled so many quotes. I can't go through them all here. It's like 5 pages of notes.
I mean, are we done with Daniel?
Yes. I do have one more character I'd like to talk about, though.
Oh, okay.
They never came up in our discussion. They're the only other female we haven't really discussed, and that's Brix, Louis' madam money manager for the Azalea.
Oh, the buxom beauty that is in the back.
I love Brix.
Whoever wrote her part, man,
Miss Williams.
She's got some zingers out there.
When we first meet her, one of her lines is, "I don't care who you is. You put a dick in an asshole without asking. That's against Jesus. Fuck you."
Exactly. And then the ladies in the back are laughing in the hallway, and Louis like, "What you laughing at?"
She's the one we haven't talked about too much.
Man, that whole interlude when she's later like became the manager of the Azalea, right? And she's talking to the higher up white men, and of course they love her in a way that's not appropriate for that time period,
right?
And so they have a back and forth, and she's like, "Well, I'm not offended by that," and then she's like, "But then I'm offended by this." And I don't remember the whole interlude.
Yeah,
but
she says, "I've been called a cunny, a cow, and a bitch that ate 1,000 dicks. You want to apologize for calling me a woman? Woo!
Right?
Leave your wife. I'll make you a happy man, Mr. Anderson."
Right? Exactly. Yep. It's great. The delivery was awesome.
Yep. She also says later at one point, "I'm gonna speak for the girls and say, as minority owners, that's a stupid fucking business plan." She says it right to Louis.
Right?
Unfortunately, we never hear about her again.
No. No. We don't know what happens to her
No,
either.
after the whole riot stuff and the Azalea stuff went away, we don't know.
I'm assuming she became a sex worker again.
Who knows?
I mean, it's possible Lestat took care of her, as far as, like, killed her off or whatever. I don't know.
Don't know.
I would like a whole show just done on her.
Right?
That would be awesome.
Random side story. Just not even it doesn't have to be a full show. It could be like a web series that's like 8 minutes long or something. It doesn't have to be super long.
Can we get the screenwriter to write her bit and just get the actress to do that for us?
Anyway, she was the only female character we hadn't really talked about who was a major player.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about all the female characters.
Overall,
there's the sex workers, there's
the female characters in this show there's not a lot.
No, it's very male heavy.
It's very male heavy, and that matches, I'm gonna give a small spoiler here, the books.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains one thing then.
Yeah, and we'll get to the books in just a little bit. What were you gonna say before I went on?
Oh, I had a quote from Claudia that I had written down.
Okay.
That really resonated with me. In episode 6, she goes, "Better ugly than blind."
Yes.
And I thought, boy, I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
And this speaks to the Southern hospitality and would you like some sweet tea, sir? That kind of shit that we have to do here in the Southern states of, let me just sugar this shit up so that I can keep my place.
But make it palatable for you.
Yeah, exactly. Because your emotions are what's on the platter right now, not my emotions. Let me just stuff my shit down.
And I have to control your emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather be ugly than be blind. And I want that on a t-shirt because, man, yes.
They do have merch for this show. I don't think it says that. But they do have merch for the show. Right now, they're doing a whole big push for season 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So this brings me to the thing that I like to teach, and that is there's a difference between nice and kind. And for those women out there who don't know the difference, being kind is when you're, basically standing up for yourself and empowering yourself to say the things you need to say, just not harming. You're just not harming. And niceties is when you sugarcoat all that shit and you still don't get what you need said because it got buried in the sugar.
Right.
And your communication is now flawed because you can't get across what you need to get across.
Right.
So I'd rather be kind and ugly than to be blind and nice.
Right. Would you like me to go over the ages before we move on?
Sure. Yeah.
So Claudia was turned at 14, we've mentioned. By the end, she's 33, by the end of this season. Louis was turned at 32, and he is 61 by the end. Lestat was turned at 34, and he's 179 by the end.
Yeah, he said he was born in
November. He was turned in November.
17, 58 or something like that.
I have the exact dates. That's how I got the math done. 1760.
That was close.
So Claudia was born in 1903. Louis was born in 1878, and Lestat was born in 1760.
Oh, okay. It was I got the 8s and zeros mixed up. Yeah. Cool.
So, and then you also have Armand, who's 114, and we don't know much more past that, so.
Oh, I thought he was older than that. Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, 514. What did I say?
Yeah, I was going to say, you said 114.
Yeah, 514. I
thought there was a 5 in there somewhere.
514, yeah.
Which, that raises my eyebrow. But
it should.
Again, I have to have enough interest to get to season 2, and I just don't know if that's there yet. I have to process what I consumed so far to see if I miss it. So it might be in the next few months before I watch it.
I mean, we're not going to do the podcast over it. So if you would like, we can watch it, you and I together, if that might help. I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe.
Okay. I think it's time for the book to show comparison. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, that's been a sort of a carrot for me to get through everything.
Okay. Well, so the first difference is that the book is set in a completely different time. The book is set in the 18th century. So this is set in the 20th century. in the 1910s.
Okay.
The 18s.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, this is set in like 1700s. So that's one of the main differences. It also in the book, the interview is in the 70s, and there's only one interview. There's not
1970s.
two. Yes.
Okay.
There's only one interview. There's not two like in this, where there's a failed interview and a...
Right. Okay.
So, also, another big change is Louis and Claudia are changed. So in the book, Louis is a white plantation owner rather than a black brothel whorehouse owner. Pimp. That's what he calls himself. And roughly he's the same age. In the book, Claudia, though, she's white and was turned at 5 years old.
Ooh.
In the show, she's black and 14.
Ooh.
Yes.
That might change whether or not I read the book.
So I will say...
You see my face right now? I'm
so I will say that Anne Rice wrote this in the throes of grief for herself.
Makes sense. Yeah.
She was grieving a daughter who died. And I think she was about 5. So she created an immortal daughter. Louis is
clocked it.
Yeah. Louis is a self-insert of herself.
Yeah.
And then Lestat was sort of based off her husband.
Boy, none of this surprises me.
And again, the book came out in the 70s.
Boy, the therapist is strong in this one.
There's a lot of reasons why they aged Claudia up. Main one being to keep the actress, or to keep a actress from aging. Because Bailey Bass was 18-19 when she was playing Claudia.
Yeah.
And the next actress is maybe a little bit older, but maybe the same age. I don't know. Unfortunately, they couldn't get Bailey Bass for the second season. She was already contracted into the second Avatar movie. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She couldn't come back for the second season.
However, go Bailey Bass.
Right.
Just like pumping the fist for that one. Go. You go, girl.
Delaney, who replaces Bailey, does a really good job.
Okay.
So don't be worried about that. It is a little bit different, but overall, I think it's a good job.
Okay.
So don't let that worry you. They do acknowledge it. That's like the first screen that you see when you go into season 2 is Claudia is now played by Delaney.
So
I can't remember her last name.
Okay.
It's Delaney something. It starts with an H.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Delaney.
Oops.
So that's one of the big changes. Louis being a plantation owner. And again, this would be set in the 1700s.
I'm curious as to why Anne Rice said. I'm assuming she was writing this in the 1970s.
Yeah.
When was that? Yeah.
Because this came out in the 1970s.
Okay.
Which is why the interview was supposed to be set in the 70s.
Okay. So I'm curious as why she went all the way back to the 1700s to embody these
Maybe
characters.
Because she didn't want to deal with major events like World War II and
maybe
like the
and
wars
also getting it further away from your own time period could be part of a coping mechanism for her to emotionally write this out and to express herself.
Right. Because
there is some distancing there, right? There's what I call positive disassociation, and that could be part of it. That I can only stomach being able to express this if I move it away from me.
Right.
I mean,
and so
I get that.
She wrote Claudia based off her daughter who died. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Jeez, now I probably won't watch. That's a little too close to home, daughter of mine.
Okay. Any more questions on any of those changes before I move on?
No, but now I have new emotional shit coming up. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, we can talk about Antoinette. She's not in the book at all.
I think Lestat's character needed that to formulate a good, rounded character.
So there is an Antoine, but he's a friend. It's a fun friendship.
There was a mention in the Wikipedia about queer elements to her writing.
Yes, because, and that goes into the next thing I had to mention, there's no sex in the books.
Oh. Okay.
At all. It's not a queer romance. Vampires are basically asexual. They're romantic, but they're asexual.
I like hearing this. Go more. Tell me more about this.
There is no sex involved. They don't. There's not a human craving for that. That's a human thing.
their drive is really to drink
Feed.
blood.
Yes,
Yeah, warm
and
blood.
it's
Yeah, living
implied
blood.
it's implied that drinking blood is sexual and orgasmic.
Okay.
So this is where
Interesting.
this is where the queer pieces come in.
Right.
Because Louis and Lestat drink off each other, and to be honest, in the books, and I think even in the movie, they drink off of Claudia too, especially Louis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes it weird when it's a sexualization of a 5-year-old.
I have so many comments about that, but okay, we're not going to go there.
Right.
That's not what this particular show is about.
No, this is where it was a great idea to raise Claudia's age.
Yes.
To be 14.
Well, from a product standpoint, I can only imagine the white men sitting around a big table, conference table. Sorry, women, if you're there, kudos to you. But I just envision, men sitting around a big table going, they're not going to buy a product that has a female character as that young, blah, blah, blah. You can't sell that product, right? It won't do well.
Well, and I think part of it is just a whole production thing, because with the movie, you film it and it's done. But when you're doing a series like this, it took them 2 years to film in between season 1 and season 2. So that means the actress ages more.
Yeah. And so, God forbid women age.
I know, but if it's supposed to be a 5-year-old and now they're 10,
right?
Or they're a 10-year-old playing a 5-year-old and now they've hit puberty and they're 13, that's going to not play as 15.
I can't not think of this in a feminist way too, that, women have attributes that would be more, let's say, noticeable as they age. And we can't predict how young children are going to show those attributes.
Go through puberty.
Yes.
Which is why raising the age and hiring an actress who's only slightly older than that makes sense.
Slightly older, and also has the physical attributes of what they were looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and also she, not only that, but from a legal standpoint too, she's old enough to sign her own paperwork. She can manage her own money. She's actually legally an adult.
And they also don't have to, they don't have to limit her time on set, those kind of things. Right, don't have to hire a tutor, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It was a smart move. It was a smart move.
It was a completely smart
move. A lot
of
different layers. Yeah.
On a lot of different things.
I'm happy for it, because at least that's movement of the dial of some kind.
I don't think this would have taken off if they decided to keep the Claudia as 5.
Right. And I've not seen the movie, so I have no idea how this was portrayed in those aspects in the movie with Brad Pitt and
in the
Tom
movie,
Cruise.
I do know. So Claudia is played by Kirsten Dunst. She's 10. The actress is 10, I think, 9 or 10, playing Claudia, who's supposed to be 5. Wow. And at one point, she does have to kiss one of the males. Like, that's part of the story.
You should see my face right now.
I know. That's the part of the thing.
Well, I've never seen the movie. I probably won't now.
Right?
Thank you.
Why would I?
Sorry, Kristen Dunst, and I really apologize for your exploitation.
Right? Exploitation. So those are the major differences. There are other differences. Some are smaller than others. Like in the book,
I think that was a really important difference.
These are the major differences. There are some smaller ones, like
sure. Yeah.
In the book, Lestat and Louis don't have a relationship before Louis gets turned into a vampire. Really, it's like one meeting and then boom, he's a vampire, which is way more impulsive than in the show, where there's an actual relationship, some kind of friendship beforehand.
Something, yeah.
They actually have conversations
and hang out with one another
and hang out with one
another. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the show. In the book, it's not like that. It's basically one meeting and you're a vampire.
Wow.
So there's smaller changes like that where it makes sense.
I have to say, based on the way that you've described this and the lack of information that I have, is that, I love the way that this has been conceptualized in a more modern way. Mm-hmm. The whole apartment in Dubai was fascinating.
It was a gorgeous place.
I don't come from money, so that was really, really nice to see what money could possibly do to shield someone who has limitations like that as a vampire. And this is me showing compassion and empathy for a vampire. But
because if you listen to Daniel, he mentions that they were in a shitty apartment in 1970 and living in coffins. And Daniel asks, "Where's your coffin?"
Yeah.
And Louis responds with, "You're standing in it."
Right.
They basically built a coffin for them.
Yeah. I love it. And I love the idea of tech being involved. And so it's very modernized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that money is also buying cleared blood for him to drink and feed off of, right? Because this is during the coronavirus.
Well, and he can also get people like Damick to come in and drink from people specifically.
Mm-hmm. I find it interesting that Damick was one of the persons picked for feeding because he's a big dude, right? Which kind of implies he might be on steroids or something along
My
those
guess
lines.
is because
I don't know.
he's not on steroids, but he takes really good.
Right. Like we can surmise or infer there. Yeah.
That he takes really good care of himself.
Right. So it's just interesting. The little things like that I noticed, the artwork in the Dubai apartment is gorgeous and well picked.
Yes.
I actually have a link that we can share with the trigger warnings if people want to go to a really good article that described all the artwork and what it means and who all the artists and all that stuff, because it's too much to go into here. But that was very fascinating.
The sets, there's a lot of little pieces, and if you look behind where the actors are and what they're doing, the sets are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's not just the Dubai.
Hairstyles, costuming, the lighting, the
Claudia still takes care of her hair. Did you notice that? Yes, every time she goes to bed, she she's putting it over her edges.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, it's just very well thought through. I don't know if they had many people to, how they performed all this, but I can only imagine it took a whole team of experts or people who were involved in the design and making sure that every detail was highlighted or given to us. And I did find it interesting that when Lestat when they pulled across his neck, right, that Louis had to do this for the show to Claudia, that he was all in for killing Lestat.
But at the same time, he wasn't.
He wasn't. There was
couldn't follow through.
Again, the duality, yeah. But he used his personal cane knife.
He did, the one he pulled on his brother in the first episode. The one he
pulled on his brother, yeah. And I think that moment, which he was talking about, you have to show that you're willing to do that.
You can't show weakness on Liberty Street.
Right.
You never know who's watching.
Wow, what an interesting statement. Boy, just in that statement alone, we could dig into that. But Lestat watched that. He knew then that there was this duality to Louis before Louis even knew there was duality to him himself. And I'm not even sure Louis understands there is a duality to him, even when Daniel's interviewing him in 2022. So, yeah, that's an interesting angle to look at it from. So, I don't know if it's Louis.
There's a lot of pieces to this, and Louis being an unreliable narrator brings up a lot of questions to
That's what I was about to say. I think Louis has a resistance to learning about himself.
Yes.
He doesn't want to shine the mirror back on himself.
He doesn't want to accept himself. That's another piece of self-harm where he doesn't want to accept himself.
Right.
So he continues to harm himself.
He's something to be hated and something to be loathed and something to be trashed and something to be harmed and something to be, thrown away or to be, consumed or whatever. He sees himself as those things, and he's never really got himself out of that.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much any one person can potentially, quote unquote, love him, whatever that looks like for those people. So. Yeah. Anyway, boy, I just went on a little rant there.
That's okay. Rants are good. Like I said, there are other changes to the book to the show. It is not the same. Apparently, there's more violence in the book, too. More actual abuse rather than psychological abuse.
So that answers why I will never read those books now.
No. I would say just watch the show. But I'm also a TV
right
fiend, fanatic.
You nerd out on TV, yeah.
I'm a devourer.
And I want to
TV.
say you nerd out on TV that is meaningful TV or has some kind of purpose to the TV, or
right.
like
if it has some kind of message or something.
You don't just flip through the channels and just let the TV run. You actually have intention on what you watch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how this podcast was born.
I had to pause watching another show because I didn't want too much sci-fi all to be together at the same time. So I had to too much sci-fi fantasy mixing all together, and I didn't want that lore to mix in with this lore.
Right.
Because they were also dealing with vampires too. And I was like, okay, I gotta stop one of them, and the podcast needs to happen. So
that's funny. My opposite result is watching home improvement shows or some other kind of like comedy that I know is going to make me laugh, so I can feel the range of my emotions and not sink further into grief and depression.
Yeah. I mean, I watch a lot of comedy. That's why I like a lot of shows with comedy, and that's why personally I see the comedy in this show. It's not a lot.
Just too steeped in my
it's not a comedic show, but there are comedic moments. Like
there are comedic moments.
The guy Lestat making the guy slap himself in the theater. That's funny.
Right.
Or the doctor
saying,
I'm not here. I don't consent to this. I'm not here.
Yeah.
So those are funny moments. And that's just because life has funny moments.
I do want to say, I don't know if like is the right word. I connect with, I guess, the characters. Yeah. And I connect with the relationship between Daniel and Louis the most.
Okay. That's interesting.
In that Daniel has like no qualms of giving a shit how this is going to turn out. He has no agenda, and he knows that Louis does have some kind of agenda and calls him on his shit. Like, he's just been around the block a minute, and Louis is still trying to pull out the
which is why when Louis wrapped up the story in a nice tidy bow, Daniel was like, sure, that's what happened.
Right.
I don't think so, because rats.
Right. He put 3 and 3 together and got 6. Yeah.
Right? It was pretty obvious. Louis, you didn't try very hard to hide that piece.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I will say Daniel gets even more fun at one point in season 2. This is a small spoiler, I guess. He's like, this is turning into a telenovela. Where's the popcorn or something like that?
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, it's right up there with a comment about them being 2 queens.
Right?
Which, can I just say on the costuming? So there was the scene right before Louis and Lestat dance at the ball.
Yes.
And there's this camera angle that are at their feet. And Lestat drops his cigarette and puts his shoe to the cigarette to stump it out. The costuming went all the way to the shoes.
It did.
I don't think they're necessarily authentic, but they're authentic looking.
Right.
And with the heel, I was just like marveling at that, because I was like, man, that's just beautiful.
Is amazing. If you don't watch anything, but you only look at photos of this show, it is gorgeous. Right?
Yeah, the costumes, the lighting, the camera angles, the choreography, it's just superb. It just is. And I can't say enough good things about all of those things, which makes it really hard to have such an emotional reaction to the plot and to the actual show, when all of these other things are like mesmerizing me and attracting me from other angles of my interests, right? So yeah.
Well,
good stuff.
This show ends the New Orleans piece of their story, because they leave New Orleans at the end. So,
well, Louis and Claudia do.
Yes, they do.
But Lestat can fly, levitate.
He calls it the cloud gift. He floats.
Right. He floats. So can he float himself to a new country, a new city?
I don't think he can go for very long. It's just like with the mind thing. You can only do so much for so long.
Probably takes some energy to do that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I just had this thought of, how many humans does it take for a vampire to float?
What a sentence.
I know, right? I mean, it's up there with Popeye eating spinach.
That sounds like a question that would have come up on What We Do in the Shadows.
Right? Which I did think of another power that was not, at least I don't remember it being shown to us, is that the reflections. So in What We Do in the Shadows, there's no reflection.
Right. I don't think they have
in a mirror
that.
or a window.
Again, the lore is a little different. Every vampire verse has its own vampire lore. So I don't know if they ever addressed that. That's a great question, though. Well, I think this was a really good discussion. I'm sorry I made you cry. Or the show made you cry.
You didn't make me. Yeah, the show made me cry. I just didn't realize how deep the reaction really was. And I mean, this is how art can really affect your emotional.
That's why you have to watch what you watch on TV and watch what you listen to in music. What you put in can affect your mental state.
Yeah, you have to be mindful of how things are influencing you. And I knew that this show was really hard to watch.
I
just
warned
didn't
you
realize
so many times.
You did.
And I was like, if you want to change, we can change
Right?
at any point. This is a hard show.
And I even watched the first 15 minutes, and then I wrote you back on a text message, and I went, damn it.
I'm in it. I like it.
I'm in now, and I got drawn into the plot, got drawn into the cinematography, got drawn into the set design. So sometimes it's worth the struggle to learn more about yourself. And this is where the line is this show harming me? Where I know where my limitations are and I should not be harming myself? Or could I learn from this show, which this is the part that happened to me. I knew something was happening. I just couldn't articulate it until we got to be able to talk about it.
Right.
And now I know more about myself and where those feelings live.
Right.
And it has to do with grief. So,
yep.
Now you make me cry again, all over again.
I'm really good at it.
Well, I mean, you got me talking about it, but this is how you can take care of yourself. Is to know when to stop watching, right? And that's why I'm saying I watched the first 15 minutes. I endured the first 7 episodes, and I don't know that I will go back. I just don't know. I don't know that I will, knowing more now that I do about the show because we've talked about it.
Who knows?
So, and I can go all my whole life without knowing what happens.
Maybe. Because
I know enough about myself. But time will tell. I mean, I might get 2 months down the road and go, yeah, probably could handle it now. This is the expansion of humankind and the human condition, right?
Right.
Humans are very pliable. We're manipulated. We can be manipulated. We can grow. We can be molded. And if you know that about yourself, then you can mold yourself and have your own boundaries. And
as they continue saying, they continue to endure.
Right.
Each other, the situation.
Which is their human side. That's not their vampire side.
They just continue to endure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think this was a great discussion. I'm really glad you watched the show. I'm really glad we got to discuss it on the podcast.
Right. I don't know if I'd say glad. I'm happy to do it with you.
I'm glad you watched the show so we could have a discussion about it.
Yes.
Because, and like I said, I watched this a while ago. And
So, did you learn something new about me by offering this as a topic for the show?
No, I knew you would like the artistic pieces of it, and I knew you would like the plot, but I knew it would also be very, very triggering for you in certain pieces.
Okay.
So.
Well, that makes me feel better that I'm not hiding things from you, right? And I'm also not hiding things from myself.
Right. So that's why I continually gave the option of, you don't have to do this.
No, and we had many steps in that, right? There was a lot of steps in where I had basically exit doors or escape ways to get out of this. And I pushed forward anyway.
You did.
And I ended up learning something about myself. I ended up learning something about myself, and to me, that's invaluable.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
So.
All right, audience. Well, go be amazing.
Yep.
Go have some fun.
Show compassion for yourself. Have empathy for yourself. Have some empathy and compassion for others.
Yes.
And if you get something from this podcast where you feel like you don't want to watch it, you know what? I give you permission. Don't watch it.
Yeah, you don't have to watch everything we watch. No, you don't have to do any of that.
But if you think you can
sometimes
withstand
we watch it so you don't
means.
have to.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, there's something stuck in my throat.
I'm sure there was another one we watched that we didn't like either. Rugrats. Oh, jeez. Seinfeld's the worst though.
I'd rather watch Rugrats.
So the other last thing I want to say is please follow us on Blue Sky because we like to interact. We'll talk to you on there. There's a lot of, we can engage with you, and there's, the ability to comment is on there. That is our only means of social media for multiple reasons. So
it makes
hit us up on Blue Sky.
Easier on us to have one place to look at.
Well, not only that, but I mean, the social media platform these days is just not kind.
It is not. So,
and I like to hang out in places that are kind.
So everybody go be amazing and listen to us next time because we have a fun bonus thing coming up.
We do.
I don't think you're ready for it. We'll find out. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.